Speed.
Slate.
Chad Stein interview. Shot A, take one.
Holding for focus. Good. Okay, action.
All right, what is your name and where are we?
My name is Chad Stein, and where are we right now? We're at Ohlone College.
Awesome. What is your role and how did you get into that?
I have a lot of roles, but I think the one you're asking me about would be being a professional photographer. Like I tell people all the time, I've had a camera in my hand ever since I was a little kid. It goes back to when my parents would take me on vacation. I would have the little disposable cameras, which I don't think exist anymore. You go to the grocery store, pick one up, drop it off to get developed. I mean, that just really just over the years turned into taking photography classes in high school, learning the basics, getting a digital camera after high school, a more advanced one, pardon me. Back in high school, I had a basic digital camera, and just learning it and just taking it to the next level, and eventually going the route of becoming a professional photographer.
What about photography do you like? Since you're super involved in it, why?
There's a lot of things I like and more so love about photography. One of them is being able to capture a moment, freezing it in time, and it can never be changed. Capturing those memories for people to hold on to, capturing memories and moments of people that have passed on, and just being able to be creative and express myself.
Awesome. Are you based in the Bay Area?
Yes.
Are you born and raised?
No, I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Came out to Fremont when I was a little over a year old. And as you could probably tell from my shirt, I love Fremont. This is my city. So, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your clothing brands? Just showing your shirt.
So I love Fremont. I put it on my back. A lot of people consider me the face of Fremont, not to sound braggadocious. It's told to me all the time, and I run with that. And I wanted to do something to represent the real side of Fremont, not necessarily what it's become, because Fremont, in my opinion, has lost its soul for the most part. So I wanted to bring it back to what I remember, which is real Fremont. So that's where I came up with the name, and I want to have something for people to wear and be proud of.
What is real Fremont?
Real Fremont is, like I said, what I remember it to be. Having its own culture, its own identity, setting itself apart from other cities in the Bay Area. And I love the Bay as a whole. Oakland's like my second home. I frequent these cities, Hayward, San Jose, San Francisco, but I'm proud to be from Fremont. And like I said, when I was growing up, each neighborhood was known for certain things. And yeah, I just wanted to have something for people to wear that represents that.
Nice. Since we're getting into music, right? Do you remember the first show you ever photographed, or any first musician or band you photographed?
I could tell you about the first musician I photographed. That was the starting point of my career as a professional photographer. It's a friend of mine by the name of Eddie Projects from East Oakland and his crew called the Payroll Family. And that's really where I mark the beginning of my career as a professional photographer. As far as the first performance, I mean, I can't think of it off the top of my head. It might have been a local club thing or something like that.
What really stuck with you when you had that first experience, with a musician?
Well, I mean, not to sound terrible in saying this, but the money was nice. Getting paid for art and my passion was obviously something positive. Also, being involved with the music industry. I've always been a fan of music, and I don't have any musical talent myself. So this was a way for me to get myself involved with the music industry per se and be around that lifestyle.
Is photography your main source of income? Is it hard at times? Do you struggle at all to pursue this not so rewarding, or anything in the arts? Or
It's a good question. Yes, photography is my main source of income. I do have multiple revenue streams. I give people financial advice all the time, and you should always have multiple revenue streams. So yes, it's my main source, but it's not my only source. As far as does it get hard at times? Of course. Anytime you're a business owner, a sole proprietor, yeah, you got to grind for it. And being a photographer, sometimes you have to rely on the weather. Shoots have to get postponed if it's raining out, and if you're scheduled to do something on location outside. It does get hard at times, but luckily I'm blessed, and it doesn't get too hard.
You said just correct me if I'm wrong. You photographed live music events. since you said you have a personal connection with music, what does it mean to like be able to photograph, this thing that you're also connected with, being music? What's that experience like?
So, to photograph musicians and actual live events, and even just being around the musicians themselves, they're artists as well. So being able to see their creative process and the final product per se, which is the music, is awesome. I mean, especially if I'm a fan of them and the songs I'm listening to, it makes it that much more enjoyable to be, amongst that event and that vibe and photograph it.
Nice. How would you describe the Bay Area's music scene from behind the lens? And you can even get specific with, Fremont.
Wow, that's a complex question. So how would I describe the Bay Area music scene? Well, I'll go back to the days of like Mac Dre and 3 Times Crazy. I mean, I love old school Bay Area rap, and I hope the people that I deal with now don't beat me up over this. There's been, the Bay Area has waves, right? So the hyphy movement was the height of Bay Area notoriety in the music scene per se. Man, artists, I don't want to use the word one-hit wonder, so give me a second to gather my thoughts. Every so often we get a hit in the Bay and it has some steam, and then there's a lull, and then it takes off again. So right now there are some artists that are doing their thing. Of course you have the fixtures in the Bay Area, the E40s, the Too Shorts, the Keek the Sneaks, the Yuck Mouse, the Filthy Rich, the Mr. Fabs, and they're always going to do their thing. But right now we are not at the forefront of the music scene. And that's what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, while you've been like in the industry, in the photography industry, how have you seen personally, because you've been around, how have you seen like the music industry change, or even just like the culture of the Bay in general?
Well, I was not doing photography professionally during the beginning of the hyphy movement. That was like 2004, prior to Mac Dre getting killed. It did continue on after Mac Dre got murdered. I was not a professional photographer or videographer at the time. Just being around in the Bay during that period was fun. The hyphy movement was fun. It was dangerous, but it was fun. When I started doing photography in 2009, the Bay had steam still. But, it lasted for a few years, and then, it's kind of where it is now. You get a hit song and a lull, and then a hit song and a lull, like I said before.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's not, proactive and...
Why is that? Well, I'm not a musician, so I can't tell you for certain. I mean, places like the South, and the South meaning Atlanta and places like that, they tend to have a hold on the music scene. They put out a lot of artists. At one point, it was New York. That's where hip hop was born. I don't know why that is in the Bay, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm being anti-Bay. I love the Bay. It's just that there tends to be like a hit song, and then there's not. Well, if you don't mind me adding on to that. The Bay Area is, there's an independent mindset out here, right? We don't have a major record label based in the Bay. They're in LA. The closest thing is Empire, which is ran by Ghazi, and he's really putting forth that battery in the back of artists that need it. Other than that, it's an independent mind frame, and people are just having to grind on their own without that major machine behind them.
Similar, what feels unique about, Bay Area crowds, artists, or even venues compared to other places?
The thing that feels unique about Bay Area artists, crowds here in the Bay is, well, first of all, in regards to artists, we have our own lingo out here that people just don't understand. So that's the first unique thing about Bay Area artists. The energy we have out here is unique. There's still remnants of the hyphy movement, so just the way we move and the swag we have out here. As far as the crowds, I don't know if there's really a uniqueness about the crowds that differs vastly from other regions. Probably just in the movements and the wildness, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a lot of people we've talked to, interviewed, they talked a lot about, the community aspect of the Bay Area is super different. Do you have anything to touch on like, either found community or just like the community in general that consumes this kind of music?
There's community in the Bay. It's often said, and I'm not saying this is the truth all the time. It's often said in the Bay, people don't necessarily stick together in the Bay, but once there's a situation outside the Bay where Bay people are around, they come together. I mean, there's community. I just can't, I can't speak for everybody.
Kind of going backwards to before we started rolling. If you could just tell me what kind of camera you have, and if it, if you had like all the money in the world, what would be your dream setup, or do you already have it?
I mean, right now I'm using a Canon 5D Mark II, which is a bit of an older camera, but that doesn't diminish the quality of what I put out. That's like saying somebody who drives a 64 Mustang is not as good of a driver as somebody that drives a Lamborghini. Dream setup? I don't know. I mean, probably just having multiple lenses on multiple cameras that I could switch to as needed, but I've been blessed to be able to work with what I have, and it's efficient.
Yeah, and what are some of your credits? Just if I didn't know, like what have you done? Where have you been? Like who have you photographed?
I don't always like to name the high profile people I've photographed as that being the deciding factor on if I'm successful. But a lot of people like to hear it. So I photographed Drake and Kendrick Lamar and Snoop Dogg, E40. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. I'm not gonna sit here all day and list them. But my work has been featured on album covers, DVD covers. It's been on the news before, billboards. I mean, the credits, I would just suggest you look online, type my name in, and look for yourself. But I would say equally as important, if not more important, I'm credited with photographing people's life-changing events, whether it's a baby shower, a wedding, and those are important to me.
Growing up, you said photographing with just like a little disposable camera. Was that more of a creative outlet for you, or did you find yourself taking photos to share with everyone or family members?
I think as a child with disposable cameras and even basic film cameras and basic digital cameras, I don't know if I was really looking at it through an artistic lens, no pun intended. It was for fun and to preserve the memories from whether it be a vacation or hanging out with friends.
And how is it now that you get to do the same thing for fun, but you're making money off of it and you're getting your name out there? How's that?
As they say, when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, and I will absolutely back that statement. I go out there, there is some degree of stress involved. I have to do my job correctly. There's no in between, right? You either take a good photograph or you don't. But at the end of the day, it is my passion, and I love doing it, and it's fun.
Do you ever have a hard time separating, passion and business, the business side of it?
Yeah, whenever you have a passion and the business portion of it, gets in the way, it just, I guess to answer that, there's a degree of stress, yes. I don't say I separate it because they go hand in hand at this point in my career.
Have you familiarized yourself, photographers based in the Bay Area, and how maybe photography and other media outlets have evolved as you've kind of grown up in the Bay?
So if you don't mind me asking, are you talking about specific photographers?
Yeah, or you can just say like photography in general, or like how it's used in like, yeah.
To be quite honest with you, and this is not out of any degree of spite or anything like that, I don't really deal with too many other photographers here in the Bay. I deal with other videographers. As for the second portion of your question, I'd say the way it's evolved is just the equipment, the quality, and some of the techniques. But I think it's still the same art form. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Are you familiar with the third space?
No, what's that?
If you mind going kind of.
So a third space is like a space outside of work or school that people can come together and just be together as a community without having the pressure of paying for something, but the general consensus is that they're like getting together, maybe like doing something fun together without the pressure of work, school, or needing to pay for something.
So we talking about like maybe a collective of photographers in a room at the same time that are not there for business purposes? Is that?
Or just like
or like community-driven events.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like something like at the park or anything. Have you photographed or anything like that? Any kind of events like that?
Not that I could recall, unless I'm just not maybe thinking of it in that respect. But no, not that I recall.
Okay, no worries. I just had it down. Do you have, I don't know, maybe like any kind of like fun stories or like moments that stuck out to you when you were photographing a live musician? Like it could be at an event or just like, solo like session?
I mean, after almost 16 and a half years, yeah, I have crazy stories. Maybe if you like ask me a specific question, like more specific, and I'll see if I can grab something out of my head. Because we're over 16 and a half years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'd have to think of something. So like, give me. Are you asking for like something with a like you asked me?
I don't know. I feel like you have some. Just spit anything out.
Whatever
first comes to mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got one. But go ahead.
Do you like a concert in the Bay that you maybe were taking pictures at and stuff got crazy with an artist maybe backstage?
I probably won't discuss that, but I do have an answer to your question.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
So I'll tell the Drake story. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So this was early 2012. Drake was on the Club Paradise tour with Kendrick Lamar and A$AP Rocky. They had a stop at San Jose State. At the time, I was dealing with Kendrick Lamar's manager, shout out to Dave Free, and we had been in contact with each other about me shooting Kendrick Lamar's portion. I didn't hear from him that day, so I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna make myself available. So I was in San Leandro at the time, and for anybody who doesn't know, like the viewers, San Leandro is probably like, if you're speeding 25, 30 minutes from San Jose, it was like 10 o'clock at night, I'm hanging out with a friend of mine in I think the Rasputin Music parking lot in San Leandro, and I get a call from Kendrick Lamar's manager. He's like, can you get here to shoot? I'm like a half an hour away. So I get off the phone, I tell him my friend to just hit the gas, and we fly back to Fremont. There's like a power outage at my house, and like things are just like not lining up. I grab my equipment. I was like, let's get to San Jose State. So we get to San Jose, find parking. I call Dave Free, and he's like, we already left. I'm like, man. So I'm bummed out, and I get a call from one of my best friends from the industry. Shout out to Damon Jamal. Damon Jamal is an award-winning director. He's helped me a lot in my career. And he's like, hey, I'm at the show with an extra pass, an all-access pass. I'm like, this is crazy coincidental, but this is awesome. So I meet him outside to get 2 passes, one for my friend and I. And we go in through backstage. I'm like stage right, and I'm photographing Drake. Mind you, I had shot shows already, but this was a gigantic show. Drake's on stage like a few feet from me, and I'm shooting him. I broke a rule that I didn't know at the time, and I was using flash. So I'm shooting, and Drake's like gigantic bodyguard. He looks at me in front of a crowd of like 15,000 people, and he just beelines from the stage to me. And he's like, who are you? Who are you with? I'm like, what? He rips my badge off and escorts me out. I still got the shots I needed, but yeah, I got kicked out of the Drake show by Drake's bodyguard.
Like, oh my gosh, that's a story right there. Wow.
Yep.
Well, you were just talking about shooting live music. What do you look for in a shot? Like when you're, photographing like a live show or whatever, are you looking for like, emotion, lighting, energy? Like what kind of draws your eye?
Absolutely what you said, all the above. Emotion, I don't want to get the artist just standing there. I prefer to have them with the mic, them maybe making exaggerated movements with their hands. I want to get movement in there, emotion. The lighting, yes, should be right. But when you're shooting a well-crafted show, not like a hole-in-the-wall club event, the lighting is usually close to perfect. Spotlights on them, the hair lighting, whatever you need. But yeah, just kind of what I'd be looking for in most photographs anyway.
Yeah. Is there, this could just be in just photography overall. Is there a story you try to tell behind your photos? Because I remember you say you're not really looking like through like an artistic lens, but I mean like as you've gotten older, is there like a story or like a narrative you always try to tell through your photos?
Well, right now, I mean, for the last 16 and a half years almost, I am shooting with an artistic lens as a professional. Yes, I'm always trying to tell a story. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I think my photograph should be worth 1,000,000. So yes, you should be able to look at the photograph and see a story.
Is there a specific moment in a performance or something that you always try to capture? Is it an interaction with the crowd, or is there a specific, you know what I'm saying?
With music events specifically, yes, I like to have a mix of shots. Solos of the artist, if they have a band, some wider shots with the band in there, dancers as well, some over-the-shoulder shots from the crowd's perspective, and just incorporating a lot of different viewpoints.
Have you photographed a lot of events like in the Bay Area specifically? Because I remember you said you photographed these big names, but what about in the Bay Area specifically? Have you done a lot in this scene?
Yeah, I mean the Bay Area is my main market, so I've photographed club events. I mean large concerts, dance events, and yeah, the majority of my work is here in the Bay.
Yeah, with that being said, do you feel like, we kind of touched on it earlier when you were saying, like the one-hit wonder thing, do you feel like the Bay's identity is at risk of, either being like hidden or, not as, prominent as was?
The Bay is not at risk of losing its identity because it's cemented in the game. We provide things to other regions that they still run with. So no, I don't think the Bay is ever going to lose its identity. It just needs to, keep running and continue the motion that we've had in the past, and continue to solidify ourselves as what's the word I'm looking for? Just creative individuals.
Yeah, and specifically, your real Fremont shirt. It's really expensive to live there. Do you feel like with the gentrification, rising costs, has that affected the culture that once was there and isn't or it's changed for the better or worse?
Like with any region, the cost of living increases, and gentrification does drive people away from the region that they once called theirs. Does that in itself can take away from the culture and identity that once was in a region? So yes, that's a problem. But with that being said, the people who were in that region, in this case the Bay Area, are going to take their culture to where they go and then plant themselves there and spread the culture. It's more bad than it is good, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So your role as a photographer in this case, what role do they play? Photographers, videographers, documentarians play in keeping the culture alive? Because obviously you're documenting, things in real time. What does that play in the figure of speech of keeping, the culture of music alive?
You kind of answered the question for me. So a photographer, videographer, journalist, a reporter, they are there to capture it and document it. So that is just capturing the moment and freezing it in time. And regardless if the movement stops after that, that is there and preserved for future generations to see.
What keeps you coming back to shoot show after show or event after event?
The love, the passion, the money because it's my job, but yeah, it's a multitude of things.
Nice. Would you still be doing it if you weren't being paid?
I don't think somebody would be able to call me to come out and shoot at 6 in the morning for 5 or 6 hours for no pay. It would have to be like a passion project, because I donate my time to photograph events that have a cause behind it. For instance, there's an annual event at Children's Hospital in Oakland called the St. Baldrick's event, where people shave their head and raise money to benefit the fight against cancer. I don't charge for that because it's something I'm passionate about. But no, I don't think unless it was a close friend, they could be like, come photograph this 8-hour wedding for free. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I asked you. How has taking photos, how has it, or I guess I would say taking photos of, in the music idea, how's it changed your relationship with music itself? Once you've involved yourself in it?
That's a really good question. I think photographing musicians and the music scene as a whole has shown me how much passion and work goes into creating that. As a listener of music prior to becoming a photographer, I'm hearing the finished product, a 2.5, 3-minute song, and I didn't realize at the time how much goes into that. You look at it as, oh, it's a song, but I mean, they have to write, they have to record, there has to be an engineer, they have to mix and master it. Then if it's a physical product, they have to do publishing and releasing it. So there's a lot that goes into it that I once did not know about until I became a professional photographer and immersed myself in the music scene.
have you shot, like, because you're talking a lot about the process, have you shot, like, any, like, you know, behind the scenes or, like, the process of someone actually making music?
Yes.
Kind of open your eyes?
I photographed a lot of studio sessions, specifically for music. I was in the studio with Too Short, Mr. Fab, some local artists as well. But to elaborate on the behind the scenes portion of your question, I photographed a ton of behind the scenes of music video shoots. And I really enjoy that. Really, really enjoy that.
Awesome, yeah. Where do you hope Bay Area music or the culture goes in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where do I hope Bay Area music and the culture will go in 5 to 10 years? That's a complex question. I don't know. I don't want to say a specific sound. I mean, it would be nice to bring it back to the old school Bay Area sound because I'm a fan of that. But just a degree of success for a range of artists and to kind of put the Bay at the forefront again. Not to say it has to go back to the days of the hyphy movement, but just the kind of motion and spotlight that was on the Bay at the time. It'd be nice to have that again because we deserve it.
Nice. How do you want your photography to be received by viewers, and where do you hope it goes? You know, same question, and then, you know, in the near future.
I mean, I don't want this to sound like brash, but to me, it's only important for somebody to like my photographs if they're my client. It's a bonus if others like it, and it's a bigger bonus if I like it. So how do I want it to be received? If it's by the client, it has to be loved, or I didn't do my job correctly, which thankfully has never happened. To others, like here on Facebook, for instance, if it gets a bunch of likes, that's cool, that's a bonus. And if I look at it, I'm like, I like it too, that's awesome. But it's most important that the client likes it.
So, do you guys, I'm gonna now open it up
For
to
sure.
the floor.
I got a lot of questions.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Ask as many as you want.
Take turns. Okay. We're gonna like jump around to different parts of the interview.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna go like to the location, you know.
And I'm still directing it at
Yeah.
you. Mean,
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
okay, all right.
Okay. Do you think Fremont is a true part of the Bay, or is it just near the Bay?
Oh man, Fremont is absolutely the Bay. And if anybody says otherwise, we could holler about that. First off, Fremont touches the Bay. Fremont is between San Jose and Oakland. I've never heard anybody ever say Fremont's not part of the Bay. Those are fighting words. We're in the 510. Yeah, Fremont is absolutely the Bay.
Okay. Like,
That's crazy. Did you think of that?
yeah.
Oh man, where'd you say you're from, Fremont?
From Fremont.
Oh man, we
I
might
gotta
have
think
to
about these
pull your
things.
card. No, it's cool. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay. What about your visual art form, like photography is a visual art form, adds to music or, you know, audible art forms?
What does my photography add to music or audible art forms? I don't know if it adds to it. It just documents it and shows people, you know, from a photographer standpoint or a person in the room, the fly on the wall perspective of what it's like to be there. I don't know if it actually adds to the music. I mean, a videographer, a director filming a music video is obviously putting their creative perspective on the visuals portion, but does it change the music? I don't know if it changes the music.
I have something to add on to that.
Yeah, come on.
So, how would photography sort of help the musician, like, in a way, like, promote its music?
So photography is an integral part in promotion for anything in life. It provides visuals to a musician to put out there, whether it's for promotional purposes, album cover art, any marketing campaign. It's definitely important.
Jose, you had a question?
Oh yeah, I had a question. So say you're ready to shoot for someone new. How do you approach that, and in what ways and habits have you built up over the years of your photography?
Are we talking about just musicians or in general?
In general.
So when I'm photographing a new client, I first have to see what their wants and needs are, and then I have to figure out what they're comfortable with, and then I just kind of build on that. After a few shots with the client, I can kind of see what their mood is, how malleable they are to whatever I'm requesting, and then just go from there. Did that answer it?
Yeah.
All right, right on.
Well, would you say it's about the person holding up the camera, not exactly what the camera or the camera they're holding?
Absolutely. It's not the car, it's the driver. It's not the outfit, it's the person wearing it. So you can have, like, when I talk to kids at schools, I tell them they all have a camera in their pocket. As long as they have a cell phone, they have a camera in their pocket. You don't need the most expensive equipment. As a matter of fact, I don't recommend getting the most expensive equipment right off the bat. If you have the vision or creativity at all, you can look through your fingers like this and compose a shot.
You said really quick you talk to kids at schools. Do you do like lectures or what's your experience like reaching the younger audience?
I mean, here at Ohlone specifically, Veronica's had me come speak to some of the students. One of my best friends, Eric Fuller, he was a counselor at Castlemont High School in East Oakland, so he brought me in for career day. And being in an urban setting with a lot of crime in the second most dangerous city in the country, a lot of those kids need an outlet. So I talked to them about the career portion of it and also the creative aspect of it, and just kind of give them some insight into what it's like, and hopefully just give them an opportunity to do something other than the ills of what their neighborhood might have to offer.
Kind of similar. What would you say to people I've thought it myself, I wouldn't be able to live off being a videographer. What would you say to people who might think the same thing about photography and you're doing it? You
can absolutely live off of it, right? At one point, Steven Spielberg and Spike Lee, they weren't making a living off of it, and look where they're at now. I do highly recommend having multiple revenue streams, diversifying your portfolio, have passive income. If you have to shoot 30 minutes a day while you work at a restaurant bussing tables, do it.
I got a question. Okay. What's your favorite picture you have taken? And if you'll let us, we can put it on the screen but what is your favorite picture you have taken?
I don't have one favorite photograph. That's like asking somebody that's got 100 grandkids who's their favorite grandkid. I don't have one. I will tell you the ones I've taken of people that have passed are very important to me. Clients tell me that. They thank me all the time. There's actually a clip of Mr. Fab speaking about me directly where he's thankful for photographs I've taken of some of his people that have passed. So those are extremely important to me. Of course, there's ones that do stand out of high-profile people, or ones at a baby's first photo shoot where I've captured that moment. But I don't have one particular photograph that I say is my favorite. Sorry, bro.
How is your creative input when taking photos at an event, or is it strictly what your client wants? Do you give creative input?
Of course I give creative input. I wouldn't be an artist if I didn't. I have to see what it is they want and they need, and then I put my spin on it. And as long as they're okay with it, we run with that.
Okay, I got one that's close to home.
Let's do it.
You came from Kennedy High School. Tell us what it was like at Kennedy during the time you went, and how you kind of came from that, how you came from Kennedy and became a little bit successful, because,
When I went to Kennedy, in Fremont standards, it was dangerous. We had fights, stabbings, brawls, and things like that. I was a good kid. I was a skateboarder back in high school, but also shooting photographs and videos as well. And I don't know if Kennedy necessarily was the deciding factor on whether or not I'd become successful. I will attribute some of the things I learned from my teachers, whether it be photography and videography, being somewhat of the foundation of where I'm at today. So I'm very thankful for them and their programs that they have there. Shout out to Mr. Wasserman and Mr. Martinez.
Yeah, because I say that because when I went to Kennedy, it was known as the poor school.
Yeah,
So
it still is.
Yeah.
So has a poor reputation.
Yeah, it has a poor reputation, but we didn't have a lot of funding or stuff, and so that didn't really help our success. We had to go other places with them.
So this is not part of the questions you asked me, but yeah, Kennedy has, as far back as I can remember, it's always been that. It's been kind of like the black sheep school.
Yeah.
It's where the bad kids went. But no, there's a lot of good people that went to Kennedy.
Actually, me and Ren's dad, because we're siblings,
Oh,
our
okay.
dad graduated from Kennedy.
What year?
I don't no.
I'll tell you, just if I could add something.
Yeah.
I actually got booked to photograph the first graduating class from Kennedy's 50-year reunion.
Wow.
They graduated in '64, and I shot for them in 2014, that was
Wow.
dope. That was like just kind of bringing it around. So yeah.
So I guess I have a question then, like going back to Fremont, and your brand is Real Fremont, and I'm a lover of Fremont as well. Like, it's my hometown. I don't hate my hometown. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Yeah. Like, what's the importance of repping a place like Fremont over like SF and Oakland?
Well, it's my city, so I wouldn't want to rep anywhere else. I love the Bay in its entirety, and I often tell people Oakland's my second home. I get so much love out there. I'm good wherever I go out there, and that's not a place you want to play around in. So I don't recommend you do the same without having your connections out there. But for Fremont, it's my home. It's where I've fought at, I've cried at, I built my name at. I've done so much in Fremont. My first in this, my first in that, my first in this. So it's like anybody that should rep a place they love. I'm just doing the same. If I came from another city, like I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I came to Fremont at a little over a year old. If I was living in Brooklyn for all these years, I probably would be doing the same out there. It's just Fremont's my city, so that's why I rep it.
I got one last question.
You can ask a million. I'm here. I've cleared out my schedule for you guys.
Nice. Can you tell us a fun story or just a story in general from a studio shoot that you might have?
Oh, we talking about like a studio session where they're recording music, or me photographing in a studio on a cyclorama, or what?
Music studio session.
Um.
Because I hear sometimes artists talk about how stuff gets crazy in the studio.
Okay, I'm not gonna name names. I won't name names.
Yeah.
One time, a good friend of mine who's fairly successful in the music scene, he had a studio session with another successful Bay Area artist. He invited me to come through. I brought one of my good friends with me who's a street dude. And when I got in there, I gave my friend a big handshake, a hood hug. My friend did the same. And I put my hand out to the artist who's more successful. And he kind of did one of these, looked at my hand, looked up at me. I don't know if he was intoxicated or what. And my friend was this close to laying him out. This close. And I had to stop him. But I won't say names. So.
Do you deal with a lot of ego when it comes to these high-profile clients?
Yeah. And when I'm done answering this, ask me about a club event. I could talk about that one.
Okay,
ask me about.
okay.
Of course, I deal with a lot of egos. A lot of people when they, attain a level of success, it gets to their head. There's also ones that haven't. So just like any industry, you're gonna have your humble people. You're gonna have your narcissistic people. So of course, I've seen both sides of it.
Yeah. You saying something about a club event?
Yeah, I told this on when Liam interviewed me. You want me to repeat it?
Yes.
All right. So, I was photographing a club event in San Jose. It was by a really good friend of mine by the name of Daniel Mbe. He was the promoter. He was one of the hottest promoters in the Bay at the time. He was doing an event with an artist by the name of YFN Lucci. And we were at a club in San Jose, and the club event was going cool. It was a typical event. And there was like a fight, I want to say, outside. I think it was outside or by the door. And everybody was rushing to the door, and then the people outside were trying to rush in. So there was a lot of commotion, and I'm inside shooting, and I see that security is no longer able to hold the door. And that's usually the turning point of when an event could go from good to bad. So they couldn't hold the door, and everybody rushed in, so now there's an influx of people that didn't pay to get in. And it started getting a little dicey in there. I wasn't really feeling the vibe. Long story short, the artist YFN Lucci, he didn't perform that night, so people started getting angry. And then if anybody knows downtown San Jose, there's like alleyways and stuff next to the clubs. And then gunshots rang out. And I happened to be by the side of the building where the gunshots rang out. And they were hitting the side of the building and the window. And that was a pretty crazy one. Just to name another one, rest in peace Nipsey Hussle. I've been able to photograph him 3 times. The first 2 went well. The third one in San Francisco. By the way, Daniel Mbe was still the promoter for these 3 as well. Third one in San Francisco, he was supposed to perform. Right before he came in again, there was a massive brawl. I was in the middle of it, minding my own business, and he wasn't able to perform. His security wouldn't allow him to. So yeah, there's fights, there's shootings. It happens.
like you said, like growing up in the hyphy movement, you said it wasn't exactly the safest movement. You know, we have people who talk about, you know, clubs and events nowadays, you know, where there's mosh pits and stuff, and people say that's not safe. Would you think, like, could you relate mosh pits to how it was going on back then?
Yeah, well, I mean, a mosh pit is more towards the rock scene, right? I mean, I guess you could get a mosh pit-esque vibe at a rap event. I mean, every genre of music has its danger in the crowds and the environment. For the hyphy movement specifically, I think it was more dangerous because it was reckless. We used to hang out in moving cars and swing donuts with people on the roof. And I think that's where the danger came from the hyphy movement. Did that answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Have you like photographed an artist who like maybe when you first photographed them like they were smaller and you watched them blown up? Like what is that like?
Yeah, I definitely have watched artists from kind of their inception to becoming, successful, different degrees of success. And that's awesome, especially if they've kept the same love for me that they did when they wanted me to photograph them to where they're at now. And it's a cool process. You know, you get to see them where they're grinding real hard to even get on. And then, you know, seeing them on the big stage or doing things with big people. I think it's like that in any industry, though. Whether it's somebody, you know, working at a taco truck and then having their own Mexican restaurant, or somebody starting a moving company and now they have, 50 trucks in their fleet. It's cool to watch that grind.
I have another question. So when you were getting gigs, is it different from when you first started to, like, what is the process, and is it different from how you first started versus now?
At times, the process for me getting gigs is the same. At times, it's different, right? And we'll start with the different portion. Coming up, I was having to reach out to artists. I don't want to say that's completely ceased. I'm still reaching out to artists, but now the big names reach out to me as well. The same is the grind. Like, I have to be on social media. I have to be, at events. I have to still hand out business cards. I don't think that should ever stop. E40, who's a good friend of mine, he says how did he word it? Same hustle, different product. So, if the viewers are not aware of this, he's selling alcohol and food. And he's taken the same grind and hustle he had with the music and applied that to the product he sells now. So I think it's still the same level of hustle and work ethic.
Have you ever had to say, no or refuse to shoot someone where they either didn't align morally with you, or you don't have to name names, but has that ever happened?
That's a very good question. So I have a saying. So the only two things I won't photograph are naked men and funerals. Aside from the illegal and the immoral, those are the only two things I won't photograph. So yes, I've been asked to photograph funerals. I don't take offense to it. It's just that I don't want to capture people in a time of grief, right? I don't want to be intrusive and invasive. As far as the naked men thing, that's just a preference, right? I mean, there's people that'll do it. I'm not one of them. As far as turning down gigs that are not affiliated with those two things, sometimes I'm just too booked and I can't take somebody's booking. For instance, a couple weeks ago, I was booked to shoot a Diwali party and a baby shower, and somebody wanted me to photograph, a friend of mine wanted me to photograph their child's first birthday party. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't be in two places at one time. I felt bad, but what can I do? So, yeah.
Randy, you have any questions?
I guess, like, in terms of, like, that, like, I guess more on, like, thinking about money, like, if you did have two shoots on the same day, like, are there times where you are able to kind of jump, or, like, how much of that is a setback for you to kind of, like, prioritize which comes first?
So when it comes to double booking, which I don't do, I mean, the person who books me first has it. If I'm able to take two gigs in one day, it's simply because they're at different times. I can finish the first one and go to the next one. Some people I ask, are you able to do it on another day? Sometimes they have a wedding and they can't reschedule it. But if it's like a one-on-one photo shoot and, they're able to change the date and time, then I could take two.
I actually did have another one. It goes back to that story you told us about using flash at an event. Is there, you know, in like a lot of things, there's like rules you don't break but aren't written down, you know, rules that are only spoken, you know, that maybe photographers all know but they don't spread, they kind of gatekeep. Is there like stuff like that in the photography industry?
Yeah, there's definitely unwritten rules, one of which, like we already talked about, was no flashes at big shows. I'm pretty sure you can get away with it at like small club events. I've done it. I mean, people, you know, you have paparazzi, right? Paparazzi are completely different than photographers. They're leeches, they're nuisances. They don't care what you're going through. They want their shot so they can get paid for it. As a photographer, yes, there's unwritten rules. If somebody asks you not to photograph them, don't photograph them. Don't push the line and say just because you're in public you could photograph them or something like that. You come off sounding like a jerk. For me, that's an unwritten rule. Yeah, don't step on anybody's toes. Don't be invasive when it's not needed. I mean, some people want you to be intrusive. For instance, at a wedding, right? The couple wants you to get people's reactions and things like that. But other than that, no, just don't treat people how you wouldn't want to be treated.
Just like an unspecific question to the documentary. I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on like paparazzi and maybe when they can overstep sometimes, celebrities or even just, you know, people?
I hate paparazzi. As a matter of fact, if somebody says it to me jokingly, I get angry. I tell them I'm not a paparazzi. I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. Paparazzi are out there just for their shot and just for their money. They don't care. This may be, you know, beyond the memory of a lot of the viewers for this documentary, but Princess Diana, she passed in in the 90s. She died because of paparazzi. They were chasing her vehicle that she was in, and the driver lost control, crashed, and she died. So, yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, I'm just like...
Does anybody remember that? Or you guys...
No, I didn't know
I
that.
wasn't there.
Okay, but I mean, but have you heard of Princess Diana?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how she died.
Wow.
Paparazzi were chasing her vehicle.
You know, like in like a lot of industries, they say there's it's a line kind of, and there's two sides to it. With photography and then paparazzi, you know, like in art, there's people who only make art for the money, and there's people who only make it for art.
Yeah.
Would you say paparazzi are obviously on the side of just making it for money? Photographers are on the side of art?
Yeah.
Like,
Photographers, I mean, beyond photographers only being in it for the money, they're usually not good people with good morals, right? I don't know what they do at home. I don't know how they treat their families, but when they have a camera in their hands, I mean, you could watch the videos on TMZ. You could watch them waiting for people to get out of a restaurant and get out of their car, and they'll just be like, just in their face. That's just invading somebody's personal boundaries. And yeah, I don't even think they're artists. Because I've seen some of their photographs, and they're not even composed well. Yeah, it's just like, it's trash. So to all the paparazzo, I think that's the plural, that are watching, you can be mad at me all you want. Was that cool? That was all right?
yeah.
I like that, yeah. Do you, like a sub-question, I have a wrinkle question. Do you notice any differences between, like, photographing in Oakland to, like, compared to photographing in, like, San Francisco? And then second, do you think the Bay Area has one overall music culture? What would you think about that?
In regards to your first question about, would you say city to city in the Bay Area?
Yeah, just city to city, like.
Well, let's talk about safety. I think no matter where you are, whether you're in an affluent area or an urban area, I think you always have to be on your toes. You always need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to do that even when you don't have a camera in your hand. Me personally, I'm always prepared. We'll put it like that. When I go to these more dangerous areas, I always contact my people. I have people with me. And, just respect people also. Respect is a big part of how you're going to leave that situation, right? As far as does the Bay Area, your wording was have an overall...
Yeah, like would you say there's like, you know, because we've been talking about the culture of the Bay Area. Do you think there's one culture? Or do you think, you know, you have different cultures of different, you know, cities or whatever? Would you say?
I think... Specifically with rap and hip-hop, I think each city has its own contribution to Bay Area rap as a whole, right? San Francisco rap versus Oakland rap, they have their differences, right? But as far as as a whole, well, you have so many genres of music, so I don't think you could put them all in the same pot, right? A rapper versus a punk rock group they're not going to fall under the same umbrella of the type of sound.
And then, kind of piggybacking off of that, what Bay Area subculture, punk, rap, R&B, would you say is like has the most photogenic energy to capture, or what's like, what gives you the most out of your photos? Which genre?
I think all genres have their photogenic aspects, right? I primarily photograph rappers and hip-hop artists. I have been in the scene of ska and punk and rock, and I find photogenic moments in all of them. So I wouldn't say that one genre or one type of artist has it specifically. Anybody? Good?
I think I'm good.
Or do you want to ask like the music question that we've been asking everyone? Or no?
Yeah, you can ask me. I don't know.
Yeah.
You ask me whatever.
We've just kind of been asking everyone, what in 5 words or less, I would say like 3 words, what is music to you? Or like, what is it, Just like, yeah.
The soundtrack of life.
The soundtrack of life. Or soundtrack of life, yeah. Sick.
4 words.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite Bay Area song or Bay Area anthem?
My favorite song to ever come out of the Bay Area is Keep It on the Real by 3 Times Crazy, which is, in my opinion, from the golden era of Bay Area rap. But if I can add to that, my favorite rapper of all time is the late, great Mac Dre.
Nice. Favorite Mac Dre song?
Wow. Genie of the Lamp, The Game is Thick, Grown, SHIT. I could go on and on. I'm a Mac Dre super fan.
Who would you say was your biggest musical inspiration, in the Bay, or would you say it's Mac Dre? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm necessarily inspired by musicians because I'm myself not a musician. But yeah, it's Mac Dre all day. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to meet him. He passed in November 1st of 2004. I was still in high school, but I've been able to deal directly with a plethora of people that have been around him. And I always say that if he was alive today, or if I was photographing back then, I have no doubt that I would have photographed him. I've photographed everybody in the Bay. So, yeah, rest in peace, Mac Dre.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah.
The president of his record company just wished me a happy birthday, too. So, shout out to Kilo.
Can we have you just like wave to the camera and then we'll
Like,
cut
just be
after
like
that?
that. Either.
You can do the main camera first.
Like, just a wave? I don't want this to look corny.
Be like at the end.
Can I give you guys a shout out on camera, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, so as mentioned before, I am. Do you want me to look in the camera for this?
Sure, if you want to, yeah. The main camera's right here.
Main camera. This is camera, right? So I am an Ohlone College film department super fan. There was nobody bigger fan than myself, and I challenge anybody to that. I really don't watch TV, but when I do, I put on Channel 28. I am a huge fan of what you guys do here. I love that a majority of it is shot in Fremont. I love that you guys go to school in Fremont. I love that you guys are taking the film seriously, and I hope for nothing but success for you guys. And thank you so much for having me be a part of this. Not to sound braggadocious, I've been in some of the most exclusive rooms in the world with some of the biggest people in the world, making great money. But today, November 13th, 2025, I'm extremely excited to be here. I've been looking forward to it. I can't wait to be part of it again. Thank you, guys.
Okay, cut it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.